We need to talk.
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 Welcome back to We Need to Talk, episode number 51. I'm your host, Mr. KOA, alongside
Top Boy.
And we have someone from the West Coast, but he's from here, but not anymore. Like, are you an outsider now, or are you still a hometown kid?
This is home to me. Like, Toronto, like, to me, will always be home, but I guess at this point, like, my ideas.
Like, are you coming back?
I plan to. But I think
you're not coming back. A man that says I plan to is not coming back. It shouldn't be a plan. I'm here for a little bit, but I'm coming back.
In a dream world, I'm like Toronto and LA back and forth.
Toronto and LA.
Toronto and LA.
So you're in LA more than
I would like to be. I would like to be.
I live in LA.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
For me, like, I've been away for like so long, but like all of my family is here.
Yeah.
So it's just like it doesn't make sense to like I would never abandon Toronto ever in my life.
Why would you want to live in LA? I mean, I rate it. I would live in LA too because I love LA. But why do you think LA is somewhere you could actually live?
Like I'm an actor,
okay.
so being out there, it's like the amount of work and the quality of the projects that are out there would be a lot of fun to kind of to be working in that area. Obviously, LA is a beautiful city.
Mm-hmm. Do you prefer LA over Toronto?
I think for me, I would just enjoy living somewhere where it's warm for a little while. Like I like being away from home. Like I find like I have more focus when I'm away from home. But like this is like my anchor, so like I'll always come back to it.
So what's in BC?
So when I moved out to BC, it was on a football scholarship to go to Simon Fraser, and I didn't end up like finishing school there. And so when I wasn't playing football anymore, I just said that I wouldn't move home until I made something of myself. Like it was like pure just like stubbornness. Like I didn't want to come back until I figured it out. So I just ended up staying, and it just took me longer than I'd like to have figured it out.
Have you figured it out?
I'm on the path now.
Oh, so
school's done, acting is rolling. I'm just not at the level that I want to be at yet.
But you believe figuring out what will happen out there, opposed to be, or you just need.
I'm on the path.
You just need to be away. You're saying.
I just think there's like a certain level I want to accomplish before I come home.
And with what specifically? Do you know?
I would like to with acting and writing. So once I can create and perform and sustain myself doing only that, like no other job, then I'm fine.
And that's what you've been doing while you've been out there?
That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
Well, wait, hold on. We should probably introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even get into introduce yourself.
Maybe we just hop right into this convo. But
True.
Yeah. So who are you? Name? What do you do? I know you act. You just explained, but what else do you do? Like.
So Jordan Birch. That's my name. I'm an actor on my best days. Otherwise, like I'm a writer, so I try and write anything that I can. Where it's just like poems, plays. Short films. So I'm just very interested in just try like storytelling is something I'm like very, very into.
Like porn?
No, not at all. Like literally just like any type of narrative based. So like I try to find unique ways to like tell stories.
Like the pizza man at the front door and that kind of stuff?
That kind of stuff, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of stuff what kind of gigs have you done so far?
Like I've done a couple episodes. Yes.
Okay.
So I've done a few commercials. Probably Staples is probably like the biggest one that I've done. Did one for Hulu that hasn't come out yet.
For Hulu?
Yep.
Okay.
Did I see you in like a TV show?
Yes, I've done an episode of Once Upon a Time. I've done a few episodes of Lucifer. I did a show called Zoo, and I'm on hold for a new show that's coming out on Netflix. So I can't say anything yet. But
fair.
Pray for the kid.
Dope. That's sick.
Yeah.
How did you get into acting after football? They're very extreme differences.
Yes.
I also play football as well, but I chose basketball for my route. But I mean, I feel like even with what I'm doing now, like photography and stuff, I feel like sports it gives you like a foundation to do well in anything, to be honest.
Yes.
Because it teaches you things like discipline, listening to people, working with people that you don't fucking like. But all this shit like in sports, they're like, oh, it's just a sport. It's like, no, like when I'm with my teammates, like at school, like you're not friends with all your teammates. But you have to make it work. Like if we're not together, we lose.
Facts.
So dealing with your pride, dealing with like emotions, dealing with other people's egos, like all these things sports teach you. So what have you taken from, I guess, football and applied to this new path that you have that you feel like is very useful?
I think with being on team sports, like kind of like you said, there's a lot of things that you don't control. Like you control like your effort, what your preparation is like, and a lot of it is like, you know, you have to rely on your teammates, you have to rely on your game plan, you have to rely on like a lot of different factors outside of yourself.
Right.
And like with anything creative, for the most part, like at least with acting, at least there are so many things that are not within your control. Like your career, especially like somebody who's early on in their career, like you don't control like what projects you get to be a part of unless like you don't really have offers.
Right.
So but you can control like your preparation, like the training that you put in, like how you go about learning and trying to get better. And so those are the things that I kind of like I can apply to it, because those are the things that I can focus on, and the results will come after that.
Right.
So I think that's probably the biggest thing, because it's not so much of it is on me, which I enjoy in its own right. It's kind of like, okay, there's nobody else to look at.
Yeah.
How'd you get to acting though?
Something I always wanted to do, but I played sports my entire life.
Also, before sports, you wanted to act. Really?
From when I was probably like elementary school, high school.
From like watching TV shows and stuff?
Watching shows, like taking drama in school.
Yeah.
Something that I always wanted to do, but it was like, okay, there's like this open casting for this, but I have a basketball tournament. Which one do you want to do? I'm going to play basketball.
Right.
Yeah. You have there's this that's casting, but you have a football game. Which one do you want to do? I'm going to play football.
It's on the back burner.
So it was just always on the back burner for a long time. So when I wasn't playing football anymore, I was on Facebook one day going through like old notes. I don't know if you guys remember like the notes app, but I used to
stuff you write and stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I was going through like tons of like old poems that I wrote, and there was one that was like top 25 things about me, and like at one point like everybody was just doing those.
I remember that.
And then so I think like one of the last ones, like I think it's like number like 23, was like sometimes I still wish I pursued acting. And I read that, and this was a couple of years ago, and I didn't even realize that it was like in my head like that.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, there's nothing stopping me now. It's like, just go into it. So I I went for it. I just started doing like background work, just trying to see what it's like to be on set. I met a friend of mine. He introduced me to his agent. I just sat down. I was like, this is what my plan is for myself. And then they signed me on the spot, and I booked my first commercial 2 weeks after that.
Wicked, man.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Dope. So in the acting space, obviously, like any creative space, people say, oh, it's so saturated, it's this, it's, it's difficult, only a few people make it out, yada, 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 yada. What is, in your opinion, what is your, I guess, niche or specialty, I should say? That would be like, if I'm an agent looking for an actor for my next movie, my next film, why am I hiring Jordan Bertram? Like, obviously, don't sell yourself to me, but I mean, like, knowing yourself, and so you're still growing, obviously, but what do you think that you do really well that you're like, this is probably why it's my shit, why I should get this role? You know what I mean? Everyone has a thing. Like, have you found it? Maybe you haven't found it.
Truthfully, I haven't found the thing.
Okay.
And a part of that is because a lot of the roles that I've had, they're cop, this military guy, this guard, and like it's gonna be like that for a little while until it starts to break. So it's a lot of it is like in the classroom is trying to figure out what my limits are and just breaking them. So the most exciting part for me is like, I don't know what I can't do, so I just assume I can do everything. I'm just not good at it yet. So it's just like going through the process of just trying to get better, figure this out. Like, the one thing I learned about acting, which I thought was really interesting for me, is that it made me realize like how much I didn't process my own emotions until I went into acting.
Because
like,
you're really like breaking down everything.
I break down everything. But I remember we were doing this one exercise in a class, and it was like you were paired with a partner, and you're given one line, and then you have one line, and you just repeat this line back and forth to each other. And my line was "help me," and her line was "I'm sorry." And you just look into each other's eyes and just repeat those. And it got to a point where I was about to like bawl my eyes out.
Yeah.
Like,
and
actually
bawl my eyes out.
Yeah.
Because it's just stuff you're thinking about.
In a second, as soon as I got to that place, my brain's like, "What are you doing? You're about to cry. Shut up!" Yeah. Like, and it just like I took myself out of like that whole moment and brought it right back down. Because like I was like, I didn't like being there, and I was like, this is very uncomfortable. And then so from that day, I was like, why does that bother me so much? Like, why am I so uncomfortable with like like these weren't like necessarily like real feelings. It was just like,
but it is a real feeling.
Yes,
because in that moment, like with anything, in that moment, at first it's a joke because you're like, homie, like you're like, all right. Yeah. But then when you're like, especially like what they say in acting, like become that role or become that person, like you might not even know what you're saying help me for, but your subconscious is bring you to somewhere that of a space of pain or of a memory or something, whatever it is. Like you might not even know, but you're like, what the fuck am I crying? Like, why am I gonna cry? But just the repetition starts making your mind go somewhere. You're no longer even in that class with that person anymore. You know what I mean? So that's might have been what happened to you.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things where I was just like, it really made me look at myself like, why? I'm like, why am I so uncomfortable like with my own shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I had to like kind of like dig really deep into that and like kind of break that down, and like when I feel those things, I just have to stay there, like just sit in those moments and just like, okay.
Did you figure it out? Why you're uncomfortable with that?
I think I just didn't let myself feel stuff. Like I just didn't enjoy it. Like it was. I think you guys might be able to understand. It's like just like the hardening of yourself. Like I just nobody needs to see like the weakness or like, so you just and like just in playing sports, like you just
you can't complain.
You can't complain. Like you just keep it pushing.
Yeah. I think it's like a combination of because well, all three of us have probably played sports for like definitely more than half our lives, right? So there's that regiment that you go through, you know, can't even count the amount of hours you spend doing that. And then I also I'm inclined to believe a lot of it has to do with like the black masculinity part of it too. We talked about it before, just how like, you know, it's kind of like that stereotype, but it's pretty true. How you have to harden yourself. You don't talk about a lot of things that go on, especially when you're younger. You don't. So it's not entirely surprising to me that you get to a point where you're feeling those moments and you're like, okay, I need to bring this back down, because you're automatically realizing like what that may look like, as opposed to just like letting those feelings get out. Yeah,
it's just, for me, like there's very specific moments that I remember that I know like how I got to that place. Like I remember being like maybe like 7.
Yeah,
and like as a kid, like I cried a lot. People were like, "Why do you cry so much? Stop crying. Your sister doesn't cry ever."
Yeah,
like so cut that out. So I was like, whoop, and then just shut it down. And then like I needed a place for it to go, so I started playing football. And once I could hit people, I didn't have to worry about like speaking it. Like I could write it a little bit, but like it could just go out on a football field. I could just hit people all day. So when football was gone, I was like, it was like one of like the hardest adjustments to make.
Because you're like, now you have to come back to dealing with it.
I have to deal with it, but like I don't have like the release was always physical. So now it's like, where does it go? So even now, like in like September, right when football season's about to start, like I will feel like my body like get like antsy, tensing, like it wants to like, or I might touch people more. Like we might like engage. Like I might talk to you and I might put my hand. Like I'm just like
you're aware of it.
I'm aware of it. Like there's a level of contact that my body starts to like seek out. And I just know something like, oh yeah, it's about that.
Yo, I've been saying you can probably attest this, but I've been saying for years that I think if any guy plays football, it's like it's probably one of the worst sports to walk away from. Like you played football and you went to basketball. I only played like 3 years of football.
I played 3 years. I played 3. I graduated. Yeah, grade 12, 10 to 12.
Yeah, I played in high school and then I played at like 2 years at Mac. But it's one of those sports. If you actually play football, not flag football, but football, where
you play for Mac University.
Yeah. Once you're done, that's it. Like if you don't go pro, like where else can you play? Like I mean, there's some leagues, but it's not the same.
Yeah, but it's definitely not. You can't just go play tackle football.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's like when I see, it's kind of extreme, but when you see like players who leave the NFL, you know, some of them like go crazy or like there's some shit that goes on. I kind of get it, because I'm like, these guys have been playing football from what, Pee-wee, which is how old? So it's like you've been playing this one sport your entire life, and then when you're done, you're done. Like there's you can't wean yourself off of it. Like if you play ball and you finish, you can go to the gym. You can go get runs anytime you want. You cannot do that with football.
Yeah. It's a crazy thing, especially because like when you play a sport that long, like so much of your identity becomes like attached to that thing.
Yeah.
There are people who know you only as that.
Yep.
Do
you know what I mean? Like that's just who you are to them.
I'm still like, only now really have I like erased the Ryan the basketball player. You know what I mean? Like only because like now I'm actually shooting full time and like I barely play basketball anymore. Every now and then I'll post like a basketball clip of me dunking or playing pickup, but like for the longest time it's like, you're a basketball player. "Oh, you're Mr. K, you're a basketball player, right?" I'm like, I've been cut for 3 years. It's like I don't play. It's like, "Oh, why'd you play?" I'm like, "I don't play." But it's like I don't play anymore. So, but that's your identity, because if you've been playing for so long, people just want to associate with you with something, right? So when it's even harder. I don't know. Well, have you been cut? You've been cut, right? Or no?
For football?
Yeah. No. So when you've been cut,
you see the bass in his voice.
Nah, never been cut. Yeah. So when I got cut after I got injured, it was even from basketball.
Yeah.
It was difficult for me because I was like, I feel like it would be better for me to handle if I got cut because I was shit, but because I got cut because of a personal reason with a new coach and then me being injured and not being able to be as good as I want, like all this external stuff that I'm like, it's not because I'm shit. It's just a coach doesn't like me. I'm not getting along with him. I'm coming off injury. He thinks he wants something somewhere else. Like all these other factors, like it was almost like I don't even know how to describe it. But it was like,
so you feel slighted.
I don't even like. I literally don't know what to do with myself because I'm like, I could still play, but then I'm like, but I don't want to tell people why I'm playing somewhere else. Like, and then people, I don't want to go. Then I don't want to go to the games anymore. Like I didn't go to the games because I still have friends on the basketball team at the time. But I'm like, do I still come to the games as just a guy that was on the team last year? And then everyone in the I used to think of all these things because like the families are still there, the friends are still there. Like I come to the gym. I did a couple of times. I come to the gym like, oh, I'm not playing. I just wanted to avoid that conversation of, well, I got cut because the new cut. Like it just sounds stupid. So I'm just like, let me just not go. But that process of finding yourself again, it's tough because you're like, even though you can do other things in your brain, you're like, I don't know what else to do.
That was one of the hardest adjustments that I had to make. Like, because at that point, like, I didn't finish school yet.
Yeah.
But I wasn't playing football, and the whole reason I moved to Vancouver was to play football.
Yeah.
And I prior to that, I went to a D2 in Missouri.
Right.
And it was the happiest I'd ever been.
Yeah.
Like in my life. Like nobody thought I was going to play the NCAA.
Yeah.
Nobody thought I was going to play NCAA. So when I got a scholarship to play down there, and I went to an HBCU.
That's pretty dope.
It was insane. It's like I was the only Canadian. Yeah. Everybody knew who I was, and by default, you know, your nickname, hey Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah. By default, and it was just so much fun. And it was a similar situation. Sophomore year, new coach comes in, cut scholarship money. You know what I mean? I'm like doing all these things to try and stay, and it just got to the point where I just couldn't afford to stay there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when I'm not, I didn't want to leave that. So when I went to Vancouver, I was like, I'm definitely not coming home if like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
after that.
Right after that, I was like, nah, like I gotta figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it was one of the hardest adjustment periods for me because I just didn't know what to do. And like I just buried myself in work. I had like 3 jobs, was taking class and like not going. Yeah. But I was just like I just worked. If you didn't work with me, I never saw you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want you to ask me like what was going on. Exactly. I genuinely was like,
it's a real thing. To avoid a discussion of it's not even necessarily embarrassment. It kind of is, but sometimes like. This applies to relationships as well, but sometimes there's situations you're going through, and because people are so nice around you, it's like, I know you're gonna ask me, so I have to avoid you.
Yeah.
Like not because I don't want to be mean, but if you ask me, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna take it as disrespect, but I really don't want to talk about it. And I know you're gonna want to talk, so let me just never see you. You know what I mean? So you start to avoid people, and you start to isolate yourself. And usually what happens is you replace that gap with work or something. Yeah. Right?
So it's like you have like an excuse.
Yeah. Oh, I'm busy. You're always busy.
Yeah.
But you're purposely being busy.
But that's the thing, and nobody says anything to you. They're like, well, I know he's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm purposely trying not to see you. I'm purposely blocking myself down so I have an excuse to tell you I can't see you.
Yeah. But it's the worst. For me, like, and then you have the only person I can ask me is my mom.
Yeah,
because she's at home. She's like, when are you gonna finish school? Like when are you gonna do this? Like,
what are you doing?
And she was like, I don't even care like what you graduated, just get something.
Yeah.
Like get anything. And I still was like, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah. So how did you toss girls into the mix of all this?
I have a question.
You were just going to work. Let's just be honest.
Because here's the thing.
No man's just going to work. every day.
The first time
coming
we went to
home
Van.
to himself every day.
The first time we went to Van.
Yes.
Is when that's when we met.
Yeah.
Right? And that's also when
took care of us out there, which is dope.
That's also when I met Jamie. But it's like when I was out there, I was like, "Yo,
this guy knows everybody."
There was that.
I'm like, this guy is slapping everything for sure.
Jordan knows everyone. But I was like, "Yo, there are no black people out here."
Oh yeah, no.
He's also the guy. Like,
it's tough. It was
tough. It's tough to write it. Like tough how?
Or are you token?
Not quite, but I'll say
not quite token.
Not quite. There's like a few sprinkled out, and like now, like more people from Toronto are moving out there. Like there's this weird thing that's going on, but like a lot of people from Toronto moved to Vancouver, and a lot of people from Vancouver moved to Toronto right now.
Yeah.
So like it's just been interesting to see that kind of happen in over the past couple of years. But when I first moved out there, people just be like, "Oh, like people just walk right up to me like, where are you from?" I'm like, "Where am I from?" Like I know I'm not from here, but like how do you know I'm not from? They're like, oh, like we would have met before, and I'm like, what do you mean we would have met before?
Are you everywhere? Like,
so like it's pretty crazy, just like how that works. Because like usually if you like a certain kind of music, and you're trying to be at certain parties, then those people are usually gonna be at the same parties.
Right?
They're gonna be at this spot on Thursday, they're gonna be at this spot on the Friday, they're gonna be at this spot on the Saturday. So you're gonna see them.
Yeah.
So like when I started going out, people are like, oh, like I don't know you. Like who are you? Or you just get the look, or it's like. Or when you meet girls who like,
is it a negative vibe though, or is it just curious?
It's generally curious. Or like when you meet a girl who's not black, but you just see her and you just know she likes black men.
Right.
like you just like from the soon as you walk in, you're like, oh, like you just like now just take that energy to a different level. Yeah. Like it's just like as soon as you walk in, you just feel it. Like you know who's there for you.
I have a question though. Do you think like girls know that we can sense like? As black guys, like I
don't think they know that we sense it.
They don't.
They don't.
They genuinely don't.
They literally target you, and they're like, "I just want them," but I don't think they know that we know you're targeting me. I don't.
If anything, they assume that you've seen them with somebody else before. Yeah. But it's just like it's an instant energy. It's like
I know you're coming.
I know. You just know.
I know you're coming directly for me. Yeah. Like not the guy beside me. Yeah. Okay.
So is the energy, or like you just see them at the spots where all the niggas are at?
Often.
Yeah. Like I'm like, oh, she's at all the spots. I'm like,
she's at all the spots.
I'm like, all right.
Just searching. Okay. So how is it? How's the experience?
For me,
one thing I'll say, like I was in Ottawa for school, and there's more black people there, but there's still that kind of, if you're black, you're not from here. Yeah. Like so there's more of us there, but it's like the black people are there, they're like, you're from Toronto, aren't you? Yeah, like all the black guys that are there are from Toronto, or the colleges are from Toronto. So it's like there are more black people, but we all know that we're from out of town. Mm-hmm. So there's still the actual locals, Ottawa people that are like, they target us because they're like, we know you guys aren't from here. Yeah. And then if you're an athlete, it's just a lot easier. It's just even easier. But Ottawa's crazy. Like it got to a point like the basketball team, we all go out together, like on teams and stuff. Yeah. The whole pack of team walk into a building. It's not just like you go solo. You go in like 5, 6, 7 guys deep, and you guys are all taller, big built guys. So everyone's eyes are on you, right? Mm-hmm. So it was super easy. Like we wouldn't have to talk sometimes. It's just like a girl's there. You're like, come. They come. They bring their group. You leave. Like, and that was just a normal thing. And it wasn't. I feel like it got to a point where I don't even if I saw faces anymore. Like I think there's just the same type of girl at every place. I'm like, it's just if I feel like going, if I don't. But I knew I wasn't dating anyone. Like, is anyone you met out there? You're like, I'm a date you, or you just kind of take no one serious since you've been there?
There's been a couple of girls I've dated in that time. Yeah, but like college was crazy.
Like from BC?
From BC.
Okay.
It's rare though. There's like a bit of a disconnect. But I will say this: like in college, it was a lot of fun. So obviously, I was on the football team. So we had the slaughterhouse parties. And so like at
the music, or you named it Slaughterhouse?
It was named the Slaughterhouse.
Okay.
So we had a bunch of guys on the team like lived in this one big house at the bottom of the hill, and we just throw house parties there like after our games. And they were insane. Yeah. Like insane. It was kind of like in a pocket where like you can make as much noise and like nobody would really hear. Yeah. And like the 2 houses that lived beside us were vacant anyway. Like they were just never there.
It's a brothel.
It was insane. Like the parties were so nuts that like DJs that that spun at the club would come and be like, I can't get these many people out of my club night. Like, it was insane. They're like, how are these parties free? Like, you guys are just doing
no one's charging, yeah.
To the point where they helped my friend like they wrote like a Slaughterhouse song like for the parties.
Really?
And they started playing that on the radio. Like, it was like that's how big it got. Like, in terms of like, everybody knew about it.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like, we had to throw this one party, and it's packed. And it would be one of those things where, like, there's too many mans here.
Yeah.
What team are you on? I'm not any team. You gotta go. What team are you on? Oh, I just go. You gotta go. If you weren't on the football team or the basketball team, we're not trying to see you. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Man pulls up to the door. It's him, his girl, one of her friends, and a couple dudes were like, and they pull up. We're like, sorry, bro, we're not let like any more guys in, but like they could come. Man takes his girl's like, all right, babe, let's get out of here. She's like, actually, I'm gonna stay. Left her man.
I'm gonna stay.
And she definitely got piped by somebody that night.
Oh my god! I'm never if
I'm gonna stay is wild. Like,
bro, it was one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen.
You have to break up on the spot.
No, that has to be a breakup.
On the spot, you have to break up.
You're staying? Okay, we're done.
All right.
No. Babe, I'm gonna stay is wild. Cause like that's like what? Like, you have to literally look at your girl like, this is crazy. like you have to really be like, this is crazy. Because I know what you're doing. Like, I know, like you're doing.
I would actually be like speechless in that.
I would have to think you're joking for a second. I'd be like, and she's dead ass like.
It's the part that kills me is like when she moves the hand away.
Like, no. They said you.
Bruh, I died. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. It was one of the most disrespectful things I'd ever seen anybody do.
Man's like, yo, baby, gotta go. No, they just said you though. They just said you have to go.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god. What was it like going to a black college?
Oh my god, so much fun. So it was a smaller school, but think drumline, like everything that you think, and like scale it down to like maybe like 15% of that.
Yeah.
But it was still like the most fun.
Bands and frats.
Our band was better and more popular than any other team. Like on the school, like people would come just to see the band. You would go to a game and you hear some classicals, then you hear some jazz, then you hear Jay-Z, then you hear Lil Wayne, and then we'll go back to like all in the span of football. The band was just going crazy.
Yeah.
The fraternities were insane. Like, even just watching.
It was serious frats for it? Like,
serious frats.
Really?
Yeah.
So just seeing, like, you know, all the alphas and the omegas and seeing them do their thing. And it was just like. The things that, like, you imagine, like, what college is like.
It was like
it's literally that. But it's just a smaller school.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun for me to watch. And I wasn't there long enough to decide if I ever would have pledged. I don't know if I would have been a fraternity guy. But it was just, like, it was really, really cool to, like, see that culture. And just be around where, like, you're meeting people from Georgia, Florida, Texas, DC.
Yeah, everyone's from everywhere.
LA. And, like, every state has its own culture. So it was just fun to kind of, you know, just to, like, meet all these different people from all over the place. Mm-hmm. And then they're looking at me, like, super foreign.
Yeah.
Which is, like, crazy.
I always wondered what it'd be like going to, like, a black college like that. Because did I tell you the USC story? Did I tell you that?
When you guys wore fake jerseys?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't explain on the podcast. Yeah. Long story short, went to Cali a few years ago. Me, Chris, and my other boy Joe. And we booked the Airbnb, and the Airbnb said it was in Compton, right? But USC and Compton are like same place. Yeah. So when I booked it, I'm like, yo, this is going to be like student housing area. Mm-hmm. So we get to the Airbnb. It looked like shit from the outside, but it was whoever designed the Airbnb on the inside was like an award-winning designer or some shit. So this place did not look the way it should have. It was crazy. And we were right next to the school. One day we went to the school to watch a football game, and we went to athletic store and just bought a bunch of gear to like blend in with the crowd. But because it was like three black dudes walking around like campus in athletic gear, everyone thought like we were part of like teams, like some team. We just went along with it.
You don't just walk around campus with jerseys.
Yeah. It was like the jackets and stuff like that. So we're like, okay, cool. So we're walking. They had a area. They had a street called Frat Row, and like on one side of the street it was all fraternities, and on the other side of the street it was all sororities. And I just never forget, there was one house that had they didn't have a front lawn. It was a makeshift beach. Like they took out all the grass and they put all the sand, and it was fenced up so you couldn't see what was going in, but you knew there was a party going on. So we get to the fence, and the guy's like, "Oh, sorry, like we're only letting." It's like, "Are you like a brother? Like, do you know anyone part of the fraternity here?" And we're like, "Nah." And he's like, "Sorry, you can't come in unless a brother invites you." So my Chris was like, "Are you a brother?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, can you invite us in?" And the dude's like, "All right, I'm gonna let you guys in. You guys look like you're on a sports team anyway." So we walk in. We're the only, surprisingly enough, we're the only black guys there.
Oh, it was a white guy at the door.
It was a white guy at the door, right? Only black guys there. We walk in, and I'm like, "Yo, they have like a giant bouncy castle in this front yard that's supposedly a beach." The whole house was gutted just to be a party house. Because in the back, they had like a DJ like booth up top. And like it was like a movie. Yeah. It felt like
you guys really set this up like
it felt like it
That's
was
crazy.
Really a movie. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like I wonder what it'd be like at a black college. The same way.
Yeah.
It's insane, man. Especially because like we would go to other schools, like we would drive to Columbia and go to University of Missouri.
Yeah.
And people would mess with us because we were from like the smaller, like I guess like more hood school.
Yeah.
So like girls sometimes were like, "Oh, you're from Lincoln," and they would just mess with you.
Yeah.
It was dope because it's like the same thing that like the girls that went to the other high school that you didn't go to.
Yeah.
They're just they just look different than the girls that go to your high school.
And you want them because they're not from your school.
Because they're not from your school.
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to see them again. So it's like,
I know this.
So then fast forward a couple years to like, because like I said, I'm interested to know what your experience is like being one of the few black guys in Van in that scene. Because I said like it's always been this way, but like I remember the moment where it clicked for me, where I was out and I was just like, yo, like these girls like really have a fetish for black guys. Like I really noticed it one day to the point where it's kind of like some of them look at us like objects, right? But I wonder what that's like in Van, where you're really a unicorn out there.
For me, it's like a series of things because like one, like I was a football player, and like at the time I was putting music out, so like I was rapping and doing stuff. So people just like okay, he raps, he's a football player, he's from Toronto, he's probably smashing all these things. So there are some people who are just like
he's probably smashing.
So before we've even met.
Yeah.
They're already there, and there are some people who are into that, and a lot of people are just like, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you don't even know me. So like now I gotta go out of my way to like I'm not that guy.
Yeah,
I can be, but I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
So it's like it's been sometimes it's back and forth of like playing into that or just like not. But so it's and like your palette just changes.
Yeah.
Like
how so? Like your palette for like who?
Just because like okay, it's just like
what you're attracted to.
What you're attracted to.
Yeah.
Because you just see things like before I moved to Vancouver, I don't think like Asian girls didn't really like blip my radar like that. There were girls I thought it was pretty, but as soon as I got out there, it was just like eventually it's just like that's what they have. Like, so like it's just like all right.
Yeah, I'm so like it.
They have it in abundance and
abundance.
It sounds so bad.
Like it's fucking crops. They have it in abundance, so you just end up just picking one.
Yeah.
It's just different. Like it's just like okay, so you adjust. You're like okay.
Did you date an Asian girl?
I did date an Asian girl.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. Of course I did.
How'd that go?
Not well. Oh, it was rough.
For her or for you?
Both?
I'll say more me than her, but like she was going through some stuff and it just try to put it all on me. It got really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. So it was
Was she from Vancouver?
No. Oh yeah, she's from Vancouver, sorry. But she had I guess like a lot of insecurities.
Yeah.
And like from previous relationships, and then they just really weighed her down. So I guess she'd been in previous relationships. She'd been cheated on like several times by different people.
Right.
So like I guess her self-worth was like pretty low, and
it's too hard to bring that back up.
It's very hard to build that back up.
Yeah,
and like, my patience is like iron, and like I'm very much for, I guess, like helping people, like in general. Like if I care about you, like I'm with it all the way.
But you can't.
It's
such a tough thing.
It's a tough thing. So
I can't.
Yeah.
There's only so long you can help your girlfriend, because it gets to a point where you're like, I'm not your coach. Like, I want to be your boyfriend. I don't want to be the, you're good enough. Like, I don't want to be, like, at first it's okay to be here and there, just kind of like remind them, like a spark. But when it's like, you need to do this for them to function, you no longer, that boyfriend role changes to like a psych.
Yeah. Well,
like, yeah, like I feel like you, okay, like I feel like when you're in a relationship, you have to, like you said, if I have to do this in order for you to function, that's when it's a problem.
Right.
Like I feel like it's part of a relationship where from time to time you're gonna have to like reassure your girl on certain things.
Of course.
But I don't want to have to do that like every single day. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So for me, it's become this thing where like I tend to, like, I find that I attract girls who are like have been through something or going through something, and they just
Yo, do you feel that way?
Yes.
Like, and
it's nothing. You can't escape it, because it's not. It's you. It's me. It's us. Because you're like, oh fuck, why do I always try the same thing? It's us. Like,
do you really believe that?
I 100% believe it, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. What I've learned from myself, and you're probably learning as well. You're in acting. You're confident. You're an athlete. You're used to dealing with pressures, disappointment, all these certain things. I'm the exact same way. I'm not acting, but I'm very outgoing. I'm very confident. These things attract weak women. And a weak woman isn't a bad thing. It's just, there's types of women. There's weak women, which means not that they're not capable of doing things, just weak in terms of emotions, past, history, all these, like, makes them a weak woman in terms of dependencies, or in terms of reassurances, in terms of confidence, those types of things. Our personalities attract that woman. And then when they're honest, if we're attracted to them, we lose. Because I got you, and I like you, so now we're here.
We're stuck, yeah.
Right? So it's like, every woman that meets you is attracted to that.
Okay, but I'm a little bit on the fence here, only because, when I kind of just had an epiphany moment where I was like, every girl I've dated except one, like their parents might be split up, right? And most of them all stay with their mom.
Okay.
But the worst relationship I ever been in, like the parents were together. Okay. It's not like she had I wouldn't say she was necessarily weak, but it was my worst relationship.
Are you trying to see if it's correlated to parenting, you're saying?
Because I think part of it might, because I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, there was a time where I said, yo, like, do I attract crazy women?
I know I do.
And then but,
I'll say that right now. I know I do.
But then I was like, okay, at some point, like, what if I'm making these women crazy? Right? Like, I expect every woman to be
to have a level of crazy.
Yes,
they all have a level of crazy.
I think they all do. Just like all men kind of have a certain level of something, right? Yeah. But I know I can honestly sit here and say that I know for a fact that I might have amplified that crazy a little bit through certain things that I've done. That being said, if I just look at like every girl that I've like met and started dating, and I'm not saying this because she's here, but like aside from Jamie, like I'm dead ass serious. Like every girl that I met off the bat, there was something where I was like, okay, this is like a flag, but like I closed my eyes to that flag.
See, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Did you guys do that? Like, did you guys do that where
you
know this and you saw a flag and a part of your brain was like, I see this and I'm gonna keep going anyway because that flag ain't that bad right now.
I think I subconsciously, sometimes consciously, but most times subconsciously, I'm aware that something may be an issue at some point, but I'm like, it might, like, you just do that, like, you convince yourself to like, but everyone has something, so you're just like, what if, like, am I just overreacting on this stupid, it's so small right now, whatever. And it's like, if it's not this, it's that. If it's not that, it's this. So it's like, I almost feel, it's not even settling, because settling is like you're not happy. Settling is like, I'm not happy, but I'm gonna do this. It's like you're actually happy or content with the person you're with, and something pops up, you're like, that's a little weird, but the other girl didn't have that, she had this, so whatever, maybe I can deal with this. And what I know for a fact is that I don't go for the same crazy twice. So it's like, let's say a crazy thing happens in one, and I break up with that person, I stop with that person, and I see another crazy thing happen in another girl I meet. It's something different, so I don't know if I can deal with it. Like, I don't know, because it's not like, this girl had that, so I'm definitely not doing this again. It's just like, this is new now.
See, like, on my end, it's been like, everything is great.
Yeah.
Like, during the dating process, and as soon as I'm like, okay, this is my girl now, like, the switch just goes, and I'm like, what happened?
This guy's like,
and this has happened to me
as soon as I take you serious, you turn fucking mod.
I'll tell you, the first thing this happened, like, this one girl I was dating,
oh my God.
super cool. Like, she's like, she played ball overseas, and
this is in BC.
This is in BC.
Okay.
And
overseas where? Like,
she played in Portugal.
Okay, all right.
And so we were dating for like a few months, and I was like, you know what, I'm really into this girl. Like, let's just make this a thing. I'm very much to like, I don't really like, I'm very much like have the conversation. I'm not the like, no, she was white.
Okay.
And that conversation was a whole other thing. Yeah. Tell my mom I was dating a white girl was wild.
We discussed that too.
Yeah.
She's
but
Jaden.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man, I'm not gonna put my mom on blast, but she was killing me.
Yeah.
She put me on speakerphone, and then like made me repeat it.
No.
And I didn't realize that like all her friends were around.
Stop.
And the whole room was just like it was like, he's dead. And I was like,
oh man,
it was bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was dating her and everything was cool, and then literally as soon as like she was my girlfriend, she had a problem with like every female friend that I had. She's like, this person like trying to sleep with you. Like, I don't feel comfortable you being here. People that I've known for years.
She just started saying that after you started dating.
Like
but she already knew about these people.
But she knew about. She's met them. She's been around all of them. But all of a sudden, she just had a problem with everything. And I was just like, what's going on? Like nothing has changed. Yeah. Like in the last little while. Like, but all of a sudden, everything's freaking out. And then she said something that like word for word, and it was something she'd mentioned before, like about her ex. And I was like, that's what it is. I'm like, you haven't dealt with that yet.
Yeah.
And I understood it because the situation she was in before was like a year and a bit prior. But she was like with this guy dating for a long time, and he had like gotten her parents' permission to like marry her. Like they were there. And I don't know if he had proposed yet, but like he had backed out, like freaked, panicked, and just moved out the city. It was like just cut. Like I can't do this. Freaked out. Bye. Move. So she was devastated because she thought like he was the one.
Yeah.
So, and she just kind of didn't really deal with it. And then she started dating me.
The abandonment part.
Yeah. And then so then it came out. And I was like, oh. I'm like, what? So like when I saw what it was, I was like, okay, we don't need to date. You need to figure out what that is. Like me and you we'll be friends, like we'll be cool. But like you need to figure out what that is before you can be with anybody. Yeah. Like outside of
not even
me. Just like you need to deal with that first. Fast forward, she married him.
Oh, she went back.
She went back. He came back around.
So she still liked it.
She was still there.
Loved it.
Still loved it. Yeah. And that's happened to me. There's been a few girls like that I've like. They used to talk. That we used to talk, and like they're married now. That's just like
back with their ex again.
Or
just married someone else.
Just married somebody else. Like literally either like they got married within like 6 months or like a year.
So like there was someone around. Had to be.
I was like, all right, true. But the situation with like the Asian girl, the most recent one. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So like I was saying, she'd been cheated on before, so she was dealing with all these insecurities from beforehand. And and she expressed that to me, but I didn't realize like how badly it affected her. So like after I'd made her my girlfriend, I think maybe like a month in, or a month later, she'd shared that she'd like tried to kill herself.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, okay, like this is serious.
Yeah.
So from then I was like, okay, I'm whatever I need to do to like kind of support her. So one that she's secure with us. And like secure herself, like anything I can do to contribute to that, like I'm with it.
Yeah.
But it just kept getting pushed because like she just wasn't she was not comfortable at all with like any of the people in my life. She's like, you work in the club. She's like, so she's already
just like, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's a problem. I have probably the most amount of platonic female friends, like the most amount since I was in elementary school. We just always got along. So she's already like weary of like my friends. She's like, I'm not comfortable with you being around this person. I'm like, I've been friends with this person for 8 years. Like I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, after you say that, I remember, Ryan, what you said, like, mad early in the podcast that we got arguing about.
Did I argue about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because this man was just like, his man basically said, if any one of your female friends was like, you went over to their place and they were just buck naked and they're like, let's have sex, would you, like, you would do it?
I wouldn't. And I've had, but hold on, but I
believes he would. Look at his face. Look at his face.
That's fine. But I've had to check friends like that before. Like
I've never had.
So I've had a friend who like, she like tried a ting, and like she had a boyfriend and tried a ting, and like this is somebody like I was like relatively close with, still close with now. Like I'll be at her wedding, and she had a boyfriend. She was like acting up, and I stopped and I was like, I'm telling you this as a friend, you look like a hoe right now. Like cut that shit out. Like if this was anybody else but me, like I'm sure this would go very different. But like I need you to chill.
Yeah.
Because you're coming at me like this, and I know you have a man. Like you look crazy.
Yeah.
Is she pretty?
Yeah, very pretty.
Do you find her pretty?
I think she's pretty, but it's just like I just like for me like it's I know very early on.
You know her boyfriend, and you know her boyfriend.
I only know her through him. It's like it's not something I knew from beforehand.
Her.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not like I have no ties to him, and it's like not the guy that she's with now, but it was just like something I didn't care about.
Like, nah.
I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I think when it comes to the whole platonic friend situation, I feel like a hard thing for people to understand is when you're friends with a girl for long enough, it gets to a point where like you know a little too much. To the point where it's like you know too much to the point where it's like I couldn't even think to be attracted to her because I know too much. Like she may be physically pretty, but it's like
I know all your
secrets. I know all the whole stories.
Yeah.
I know them all. So it's like,
some of them I get the play by play.
Yeah,
just like
so it's not like it's at a point where like I know women are gonna do shit, right? So it's not like I'm not attracted to you because I know you have done things, but it's like it comes a point in a platonic friendship where I just kind of look at you like the man dem at that point. So it's like I'm not gonna have sex with one of mine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
it's not that serious.
It is though. Like if a
female doesn't turn to a man.
I never said she's turned to a man. What I'm saying is like at some point I put you in this.
So I'm not gonna have sex with a man. Is what you just said as your example. It's not.
How's it not
that far?
How's it not? Listen to what I'm saying. Like
just to become. It's not a comparison to a man.
I'm not pushing it all the way.
I'm not saying I'm not saying
no, but your example just now was I'm not gonna have sex with a man.
Okay, but Ryan, you're getting wild with what I'm saying because
why do you make that example though?
Because what I'm saying is
she's like your boy. She's like, but you can't say I'm not gonna have sex with a man. Like she doesn't become that deep. It's not. You're telling me you've never had a single female friend in your life that you would consider like the same level as one of your boys. Yes, but I will never compare it to trying to have sex with a man.
No,
like it's not that repelled. Like it's not that repelled.
No, for me, it's that repelled. Like it's that repelled.
I'm not on that shit. I'm not on that shit.
That's why
it's that repelled.
It's not that.
I can't tell you how to feel.
So I'm confused. Well, why is that a bad thing?
It's not. It's just unrealistic.
How's it unrealistic?
Because she's actually not a man.
No, because like it's the likelihood of you smashing her and smashing one of your man them.
It's so
different.
It's the
even
same.
It's like a 0.0001%.
It's the same
versus zero.
It's like the same, which is none.
Okay, hey,
how is that
okay? I'm not arguing anymore at all. If that's how you feel about something.
No, because what you're basically saying then is that like there's still a chance that you would with that person who is on the same level. No,
I'm not saying there's still a chance. I'm saying you're still capable. Like I'm
not capable. That is what I'm saying. Like I'm not. Like I'm not.
I pray you never find that out the hard way, bro.
Hey, that's all. Let's leave it.
No, I'm sorry. My will is a little too strong.
I'm not gonna wish any bad things for this guy.
Nope.
My will is far too strong. My will is far too strong.
That's amazing. All I'm saying is that is an extreme repellent. Like a man is having sex with a man.
Bro, right.
Is it even
I can't put that on par. I can't.
In this hemisphere of a thought. My best friend as a female, I can say, listen, I'm not attracted to you. You're like a sister. You're like a boy. You're like my boys, whatever. but at the very minimum, you're still a female. Not that I want to.
No, I don't look.
But
at that point,
the only reason that like I'll argue against this is because I've heard you say that you can smash a thing with no regard. Like no feelings. No, but hold on. So if you can do that with somebody you have no regard for, you don't care, you can easily just ignore the fact that you're friends.
I can't.
You can eat.
I can't.
Like, you're actually He's actually convincing himself that.
Like, how is it that you can smash someone?
Wait, no, let's keep going.
No, it's not time.
How am I convincing myself that I'm not sitting here?
Listen, I'm asking you a question. I'm not making a statement. How is it that you can admit that you can sleep with someone that you don't care about at all? You don't think about them ever. With no emotion, you can smash them. But somebody that you're connected to on even the most minute of levels, that you, for some reason, you can just not smash?
Wait, hold on. This is where you need to clarify. You said that I'm connected to on a minute level.
I said even the most minute of levels. It's a spectrum. Obviously, like, she's close. But what I'm saying is, if you can sleep with somebody you don't give a... you can sleep with somebody that you hate. How can you not... you're going to say, like, it's
someone that you actually like.
How can I not sleep with someone that I consider, like, one of my best friends? How can I not do that? Is what you're asking.
He's saying,
how can you say that it's not possible, or even say that it's comparable to the mandem? Like that's a specific part.
Yeah, because that's how repellent. Like the idea of doing that is how repellent it is to me. Because we've all seen how. Hold on, let me. We've all seen how it ends up. Correct?
Man looked at the thing and said, "Gross. We're friends."
Like, that's really what it is. That's really what it is. That's really what it is.
Gross. We're friends.
That's really what it is. Because
yo, I respect it. I have to.
No, because listen, I'm really look.
I have no choice.
I can tell you right now, there's probably only 2 people in my life that are women that I can look at that way, right? So when I consider all of the situations that I have been in with them, like whether it's meeting parts of their like doing all of those things. There's literally zero possibility in which I could even consider sleeping with these people. Like the idea of sleeping with them would be gross to that point because they're almost like my sister. So it's like
and almost like a man.
But think about what I just said though.
I know. I hear what you're saying.
No, think about it. Like if you have someone that you consider
I understand it logically.
We both understand exactly what you're saying.
Man, grow up. You guys know
it's not. We are growing up. That's exactly what we're trying to ask very specific questions because we know exactly what you're saying. You're repelled. You're turned off. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Your mind's not there.
Yes.
But we're saying as actual the genetic makeup of a man being attracted to a woman is just a natural state of us.
Yes.
We are attracted to women. Period. Whether I like you, whether I hate you, whether I fucking know you forever, I am attracted to females as just the bare minimum of my
listen, I don't disagree with you, and like I'm not saying you're wrong in any facet. I'm just saying the way that I think most people process it is like, this is I wouldn't do it because of this, and this, as opposed to just like a repulsion. It's just like, no, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would I do that? Like,
why would I do it? Why would I ruin?
Like, I value this. Like, there's a process of things that like, there's so many things that would tell you not to do it.
Right.
That like, it's just not really a thought.
Yes.
But it's like, if it was like on the table, it's a different thing where you're just like
I'm disgusted of a man. Like,
yeah. And so I'm genuinely disgusted at the idea of sleeping with these 2 people.
Okay.
Right. And I think if you're
equal to,
I think that you're a better man than most.
Because I think if you're that close with them, it should be like that. You should be disgusted at the idea of doing it.
In an ideal world, I guess it is. I just haven't experienced that yet.
He's not saying he has sex with his friends.
I'm definitely not saying.
That's not what he's saying. It's just we're not at
you guys
disgust.
Yeah, I'm at that level. These are people I've known for like almost more than half my life.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, it does. That's what I'm saying, because that adds to the level of disgust as to why I would never do that.
Disgust is just not the word I would use.
I would use disgust.
I'm not,
because I'm not serious. Like I would.
Like the only way I can really put disgust with a female is my actual sister or family member.
Yes.
Like, do you look at these friends?
I fully when you go back and edit, you'll hear that I said I look at these people like my sisters. So I never would.
But actual blood.
They're not my.
No, I'm saying, do you look at them like?
I just said that. I literally just said that. He heard me say that.
I'm saying people say it's like my sister, but I mean,
no,
actual blood.
Brian,
you feel like they're actual blood.
Brian, let me tell you right now. I would not have spent the last 6 minutes on this convo if I did not look at these people like they were my blood.
But at the end of the day, they're not.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I'm not a dog, right? You know this.
No, hey.
This guy said, but at the end of the day, they're not. I just spent 6 minutes on this conversation.
I love that story when my ex like took us down that path. That was wild.
Yeah, that was.
This happens. Shit happens on this podcast,
That was
man.
funny.
So what was okay?
right.
I want to know, like, what was one of the wildest experiences you've had in van, being like in the situation you were in? You know, like all those things you listed. What was your first time you were like, okay, this is what it's like being me out here?
I think it was literally just like probably one of the first few times that I went out. And this was like at first like it was like college parties, house parties, but when I first started going downtown, it was people just like would just walk straight up to me. To be like I was literally walking down Granville, which is like I guess the equivalent of like our Young Street.
Yeah.
And some girl just stopped me in the street. She's like, "You are very sexy. I need to know who you are. I know you're not from here. You need to take my number."
You've been targeted. I'm letting you know I've targeted you.
And I was just like,
Okay.
okay.
Like,
And then I found out like, and that girl was just like, she's just one of those girls that just snipes.
Yeah.
And I was like,
slapped.
I did. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Was it good?
It was proper still.
Slapped multiple times?
Top five.
So multiple times. So she became a regular.
I wouldn't say a regular,
From a street to a regular.
but enough to like that I couldn't just dismiss it. But
so was it your place or her place mostly?
both.
Oh, so it was an equal share thing.
Yeah, it was fun. She had high ceilings.
Yo, you made me sick, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have no girlfriend now?
Nah. The way that situation ended, I was ready. I'm like, I need to chill for a
When
while.
was this?
I broke with my last girlfriend last August.
Like August that just passed, or
Like last summer.
So a year.
Yeah. So yeah, about a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was wild. That was very wild.
And you're coming back never.
Here, we'll see. I like my sister is about to have a kid, so like I'm trying to. Family's like a big priority for me now.
Yeah.
Because like now that I know what I want to do with work, now it's just like finding the balance. Like okay, like I can pursue what I want, but I need to make sure I'm home enough. So it's either gonna look like, it's probably gonna look like me flying home a lot more often.
Yeah.
So
one thing I've experienced being in relationships and being out of relationships, maybe you can attest to this as well, is have you ever felt like you're more ambitious in or out of relationships?
I would
or is
say
the type of person that you're with? Because I believe you can be in both. I believe you can be both. When you're in a relationship, you can be super motivated, or you can feel like you're being tied down, right? But there's also the flip side where it's like, you know, sometimes people need to be by themselves to really get to where they want to get to. Like, do you ever feel like you need this space right now to just be by yourself to kind of find yourself?
I think for me, like I create that space not because like I need it to advance, but I just think there's like, if my stuff is like not all the way good, I don't want to bring anybody into my space. So some people are like, I want to find someone I can build with and like I can kind of grow with. But for me, like I just never felt comfortable like doing things if I wasn't okay. Like I don't like if I don't have money to go, I'm not leaving my house. Like if I'm not, do you know what I mean? Like if I know that like I'm like if I'm broke, like I'm not trying to date anybody. Like I'm not trying to go anywhere.
Like, why get into that?
Yeah, they're like, bro, like, how come I never, like, who you talking to? I'm like, I'm not talking to no one. Because, like, I'm not
broke.
I'm broke. Like, I'm like, okay, because, like, in my head, I'm like, I want to be able to.
You want to do what you want to do?
I want to do what I want to do. I want to like, I was always the guy that, like, I would like to, like, plan, like, elaborate dates or, like, do, like, a lot of fun stuff. And, like, if I can't take care of people the way that I want to or the way that I feel secure enough to do, I'll stay by myself until like I feel comfortable doing that. So it's just like
that's respectable.
So that's just kind of like so I'm like I don't drive. So like because I don't drive, like I'm very particular about like how I go about things because like I don't want any woman to like have to worry about like picking me up or how she's gonna get home. Or, like these are all the things that I think about. Like we don't have Uber. Like that makes that's a huge thing. It's not like I can just be like, oh, like let me just I'll Uber her home, make sure she gets home straight. There's taxi everywhere, right? So it's like it's a different experience. So for me, it's like okay. Like, just on that front, I don't drive. We don't have Uber.
So you don't drive as in you don't actually drive?
I don't have a car.
Okay.
So it's just like, if I can't do this and I can't do this, and this is how I would like to take care of like this situation, like make sure she's safe, make sure she gets home, or do whatever, and I can't do those things, I just won't go anywhere. Right. We'll meet at a place where like we can walk from, or something like that. So like it's just, I just go about things differently, and like my mom kills me for it because she's just like, you just need just bring somebody into your life so that you can like get to that place together.
Right.
But like it's just like for me, like I just don't. If I don't feel secure, like,
prep.
I would much rather feel okay with what's going on here before like I introduce anybody to that.
Yeah.
I think that's a better process than like prevention is better than cure, they say, right? Yeah. So it's like, why would I? One of the most difficult, like a relationship is difficult already as is. Mm-hmm. When it's good, it's already difficult. So why add an additional difficulty by putting yourself in a situation where you're not even stable, like, so we can get through it together. Like we're already getting through being together. Like now we have to get through my hardships or your hardships together while we're learning about each other. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it just makes the relationship just more difficult.
Tough. Yeah. And plus, like, especially in the beginning, like you want to do stuff. Like you're always like, hey, we want to go here. We want to go here. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, hey, this costs this. She wants to go here. Yeah. I know she likes this. And you start adding that shit up. I'm just like,
yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So it's just like,
no, of course. And you don't feel good.
So I don't feel good. So I'm like, so I just don't I try not to put myself in the situation. Yeah. So for the most part, I end up being a lot more low key than people assume that I am, which is fine for me.
Mm. Okay.
What were we talking about before the podcast? The DeRozan situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So basically, I mean, most people probably know by now. Fucking DeRozan got traded from the Raptors. He's on San Antonio. We got Kawhi Leonard. Everyone's saying that all the girls should be flocking to wherever Kawhi is right now, so he stays here.
Kawhi doesn't give a shit about that.
Nope. During the situation, like, DeRozan's pissed, right? Like, he's pissed, and he's angry because he was told, I think it was by Masai or someone else, but he was basically told that we're not going to trade you. You're not getting traded. You have nothing to worry about. And then, like, 3 weeks later, he gets traded. Right? So he understands.
What they meant was, we're not going to trade you today. The day you're asking.
Yeah. like
we're not going to trade you, DeRozan.
Today.
Yeah.
Like,
he understands it's
part
part of the
business. The fine print on that one.
You know, like, he understands it's part of the business. Like, you may get traded. He just would have preferred to
just be open about
it. Like, have the heads up. So obviously, like, I was thinking about this relationship wise, you have to be like open about certain things. But someone asked me a question recently, and it's like, how does it go? Is it better to ask for permission first or forgiveness later? And it's what has been your mindset?
It's always been permission.
Ask for permission first.
Like
what's been your experiences? Like, has there ever been
the only time I would ever say forgiveness is when it comes to my parents. Like me making a decision for something for myself.
Yeah.
I'd rather do what I gotta do, and if it doesn't work out, then be like, sorry. But this is why I felt was best for me, because your parents are gonna be your parents, and they want the best for you. So we'll talk about another section later. But the first time you disappoint your parents is like the day you become a man. Like, that's what I strictly believe. Like, the first time you're like, no. And they're like, what? Like, it's like the day you're like, you're a man now. Whether you're still a kid or not, but like that I'll say for a black household, because other parents and other cultures are different. But for our household, for what we know, like, we're just so used to saying yes for everything. From childhood, do this, yes. Even if you hate, fuck, man. All right, you still do it.
Yeah.
Right? But the day you have the balls to be like, no. It's like you're willing to get boxed, first of all. But you're like, I'm prepared. Today I'm prepared that if they box me, if they kick me out, if whatever they do, I don't fear it. Yeah. Like, that day, whatever day that is. So that is the only time I'm willing to ask for forgiveness, is when it's something I strictly believe in versus my parents. When it comes to a relationship, it's always permission, just because you didn't have to date them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like your parents they have to be my parents. You're my parents.
Yeah.
You're not going to control me forever, but you do. That's your job. My girlfriend's, it's not her job. Like, I said be my girlfriend versus vice versa. Like, you said be my boy. Like, we did this together. So it's not I'm just gonna do shit. You figure this out when I'm done. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a different dynamic. So that's why I'm like, when it comes to relationships, always ask. It's like you brought them into whatever you're in equally as they did to you. You know, so it's just like it's not fair.
But that's the thing, and I find this like, I learned this like not that long ago. But it's just like, you never know what people are willing to accept. Like a lot of people, they do things that they're worried about, like that somebody else might feel away. Mm-hmm. But like, even if you're uncomfortable about it, like just asking them, because they might be cool with it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Like, they might genuinely be like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
like I always say, like, give people the opportunity to surprise you.
Yes.
Yeah. And that'll kind of lend itself to a lot more good than bad more often than not. Because what's the worst you're gonna hear? No.
Yeah, and you usually expect it to know, anyways.
Yeah.
So
it's just like, all right,
I knew you'd say no. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Like,
moving along.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Speaking of which, though, when was the first time you disappointed your parents? In your mind.
In my
mind?
mind?
You know when you probably disappointed them, you probably didn't know, but there's a time where you're like, I actually pissed them off, but whatever.
Oh, 7th grade.
What happened?
7th grade. It was the worst, like, year, like, as far as school goes. Yeah. So I had a French teacher who was, I was French immersion, and I had this one teacher who was, just did not mess with me at all. So there was only 2 black boys, like, in our French immersion program, and she just did not mess with me at all, to the point where, like, I remember her saying, like in health class, in front of the whole class, she's like, you know, I'm not going to tell you not to do drugs, you'll probably end up doing them anyway.
And she meant it.
She, like, flat out meant that. I said that in front of my whole class, and just, like, and said some other, like, disrespectful things to my mother during, like, about me during, like, parent teacher interviews, to the point where, like, my mom was, like, ready to turn up, and she just made me hate school. So, like, I just didn't give a fuck. So, like, I think I had, like, straight D's for, like, that whole year. But, when it was happening, my mom wasn't seeing, like, what was going on at school. She was just seeing, like, the grades coming in.
Right, yeah.
And, like, I was, like, an A, B student, like, for almost my entire life up until that point. Yeah. So, it's just, like, so she was just, like, what is going on? Like, what, like, trying to figure out, like, what's going on with me. And then I got into some stupid, like, trouble. So, like, I live by this elementary school called Gray Owl. This is, like, in Scarborough. And, like, we'd thrown, like, one of our tennis balls on the roof. It's only, like, 1 floor. So me and my boy, we climb up on the side, get on top of them, just all these balls. We start throwing them down. And I guess somebody earlier had, like, broken, like, one of the glass, like, windows in the school. And they must have thought it was us. And my boys, like, they heard, like, the police pull up. And they just hang dropped and dipped. But I didn't hear them. And I look, and I see them, like 100 meters, like, already gone. I was like, oh, shit. So, like, so I hang drop, I start peeling. And then the cop starts pulling up behind me. I'm like, all right, cool. I turn down the catwalk. And, like, once I go through this catwalk, I'm on my street. Yeah. But the cops are, like, over here. So I'm like, I'm not going to go back towards my house. So I'll just go to my boy's house.
Go right to your house.
I get midway through the catwalk. 3 cop cars cut me off. Boom, boom, boom. So I pull up, and I'm like, all right. Like, I'm caught. The car just chases me, pulls up behind me, slams me onto, like, the front of the car. Like, so, like, on where the side view mirror is, like, knocks the wind out of me. Yeah. Punches me in my ribs a few times, like, and starts talking all the type of shit, like, you fucking niggers, like, y'all think you're tough. Yeah. Like, this is probably, like, one of, like, the first experiences, like with the cops, like, that I'm, like, yo, shit is, like, real. Yeah. So it's talking all this shit, like, who are those guys? And, like, I don't know them. Who's the guys? I don't know them. He's, like, punching me in my ribs, and then, so, like, puts me in the back of the cop car.
You're 12.
I'm in the 7th grade. Like, I'm pinched. Keep in mind, like, at this point, like, I was killing time because me and my mom were supposed to go to a family barbecue. So I was just, like, playing in the street. So now I'm in the back of this cop car. Everybody's coming out in my neighborhood to see what's going on. I'm just, like, bawling, like, sitting. So all the hood mans are, like, like, just dying.
Of course.
So the man brings me to my house, tells me that I broke into the school, that I vandalized the school. None of the things that I actually did. I'm trying to talk to my mom. But she's not trying to hear that from me because the cop just told her that I just did all this stuff. So she's cheese. So she's, like, literally not trying to hear me, like, try to explain myself. She's like, no, like, you're not, like, I don't want to hear it. Like, you're done. And then beats me after I just got beat up by the police.
After the cops left.
Right? So I'm just like, so now I'm cheese. So now that whole summer is, like, her putting me in these, like, at-risk youth camps. Stop. And, like, sending me away to stay with family for a few weeks. Because she thinks that, like, I'm going down this path to be, like, whatever. Because, like, I had a bad year at school. And like, now this thing happens. Yeah. So I just remember seeing, like, so, like, that summer was just, like, the worst. Like, just seeing her, like, look at me just, like, what am I going to do with this kid? And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I'm really like, I'm fine. Like, I'm not that. But just like seeing her look at me like for that period of time, just shake her head, and like having and her like, come on, talk about me to everybody. Like telling that story like
to everybody.
Me I just got beat twice, and she's on the phone telling everybody about it. Like, you're not gonna believe what this kid just did, and I'm sitting there like, I ain't doing nothing. Like, so it's just one of those. So
did you talk with your mom about this years later?
Years later, I told she apologized because I had a chance to like tell her like what actually happened that day, and she was just like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And she apologized, but it was like a thing for a minute. I was like, wow, like this is nuts. Like my mom literally thinks like I'm off the rails.
Like, wow.
What about you?
First time I disappointed my parents. Well, my parents don't live together, so I disappointed them at different times. But
I know the dad. I was gonna say the dad where you walked in.
Yeah,
that's when you smashing.
Definitely.
Everyone knows that story.
Definitely.
What about your mom? Give me an example of your mom.
Yeah, when my dad caught me having sex, it was definitely he was like, yeah, this can't be. You can't be. I can't talk to you outside.
It's funny because I can
he's just so mad.
After seeing your dad, like I can see him.
The man just can't talk to you outside. This can't keep. Can you just come outside? He couldn't even talk.
Yeah.
So that was that. For my mom, yeah, for my mom, I used to live with my mom, in high school, and for the longest time, like I'm the oldest brother of 6. I have 6 siblings, so like I've always been used to just being the old brother. Just you clean dishes, you do this, you pick your sister up, all the bullshit you're supposed to do as older brother, right? And I would always do dishes and always clean the house before I go visit my dad's house. And so there was one weekend I cleaned all the dishes, cleaned the whole house, and I left to go to my dad's house. I'm like, all right, mom, I'm gone for the weekend. House is clean, nothing to complain about. Because like, before you leave, like, the house better be clean before you leave. I'm like, house is clean, bedroom clean, you can't chat. Like, everything's done. Goodbye, right? At this time, she was talking to a guy, and he was staying at the house like from time to time. And I didn't really like him because he was close to me in age, like he was young.
Yeah.
Probably like maybe 8 years older than me. So I was like younger than her, like enough years younger than her, and a little bit older than me. So I'm like, I don't really like this guy. Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
But he was staying around, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll leave. So I come back at the end of the weekend. I come back on the Sunday, and the kitchen's a mess. So I'm like, true. I'm like, well, it's not me, because I've been gone, right? Go to my room. He's downstairs on the couch, just chilling, whatever. And my mom calls me, Ryan. I'm like, yeah, come clean the kitchen. I'm like, I just stayed in my room. Ryan!
How old are you?
I was 15.
Okay, all right.
I was 15, yeah. Ryan, come clean the kitchen. I'm like, she's not talking to me because I cleaned the kitchen before I left, so I don't know whose dishes those are. It's just her and him home the whole weekend because my siblings are gone. They're gone to their dads. I'm like, I don't know who she's talking to because those are my dishes. So I'm just on my laptop or whatever, just chilling. She's like, I have to call you again. I'm going to come upstairs. I'm like, I come downstairs. I'm like, yes. She's like, you didn't hear me call you? I'm like, yeah.
Wow, you're brave.
And she's like, oh, so you're ignoring me? I'm like, what, you asked me to do dishes? She's like, yes, I asked you to do dishes. I'm like, I didn't make those. And she's like, I don't care. You live here. I'm like, okay. But I cleaned the kitchen before I left the house. So those are my dishes. She's like, I don't care. Washing dishes. I'm like, I'm not washing them. Like, that was the first time I'm just like I was just so cheap because I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not. Yeah. And she's like, oh, you don't wash them? If you don't wash them, get out. I'm like, fine. And that day I moved out and went to my dad's house. That day. But she thought, she tried to call my bluff because she thought they try and kick you out, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't really want to live with my dad at the time. But I was so willing to not wash the dishes. And I'm like, fine, I'll go to my dad. She's like, oh yeah? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'll go now. She's like, well, leave now. I'm like, okay. Pack my bags. Within 1 week, she calls me. She's like, oh, so you're actually going to stay there? I'm like, and that was it. So we're good now, years later, but I never went back. Like, literally since then, I stayed with my dad, and I moved out and lived by myself now. But
anytime a question starts with, so you're actually?
You know you have to leave.
So you're actually. Oh, so you're really gonna do that?
So that's how you really feel? Oh.
What about you? Have you ever disappointed your parents? Or
Definitely.
You're still doing everything they say.
It's a bit of both. Fuck, I'm in this weird phase where I still do everything they say.
Really?
But then, there've been a couple times where I disappointed my parents. I don't equate it to like when the first time
I turned up. Yeah, because the first time I turned up was like a different story.
Yeah, like the first time I disappointed my parents was I remember it was probably around the same grade, like 7. Yeah, it was like grade 7 or 8. I'm in class. I went to like a IBT school. It was like for business and shit like that. And I just remember being in a program and I was like one of like 3 black guys. Actually, no. I was like I was one of 3 black guys in the entire program. And one of them was my cousin. So it's not like, I was meeting anyone new.
Yeah.
I used to go to because Birch asked me before we started, like, how long I've been living here. I've been living here since, like, mid-2000s. And before that, I was living, like, in your area, right? So coming from England and living there was dope just because, like, there was still a lot of people that looks like me. And then when I moved out here, there's, like, no people that looks like me. There's none. I don't think since 2005 I've been living here, I haven't seen one other black family, right? None.
You never play on the street or anything?
Bro, no one plays on the street out here. Like, you see my area. Like, no one plays on... Like, I went from living in an area where people would knock on my door, like, yo, is more home? We're going to play basketball at fucking...
That down the street.
Yeah. Down the street.
To nothing. Like, that doesn't happen here. So, move area, no black people. Then I go to school, I'm like, no black people. And like, I get put in, like, this... like advanced program and there's no black people. So it's like, it was weird at an early age. I felt like an ambassador for black people. It was fucking weird. Hated that shit. Weird. It's always weird, right? So then I remember being in this program, sitting in class, and there was this one kid, never forget his name. I'm not going to put him on blast, but he was this white dude who just, I think at an early age, he knew like the type of power that he might have. Like the privilege?
Yeah, the type of privilege that he might have. So he was a type that would like say a lot of fucked up shit or do like some wild stuff. But then whenever like authority was around, he would like switch up.
One of those cartoon characters.
Right?
One of those cartoon guys. Just sitting there like, what?
I remember being in class one day and teachers teaching us, and he's like, the teacher leaves for like 10 minutes and it's not a quiz, but like she just gave us work to do and she's like, I'll be back to take care of some shit. And this guy was just like egging me on all class. Like I remember my mom asking me if I've ever been bullied before in my life. And I always said no, but when I really think about it, I think this one situation was the closest I've ever been to being bullied because he's never been checked before, right? So he was like bullying other people in the class, and then he started saying shit to me, and then he started saying some borderline like racist shit. Like he thought he could get away with saying some shit about black people because like I'm the only black dude he knows. So he's like, oh, he's not gonna say anything.
It's just funny.
It's just funny, right? And he's saying some shit, and he's sitting right next to me too. That's a wild part. He's sitting right next to me. And it got to a point where like it was like bubbling in those 10 minutes. And on the 9th minute, as the teacher's walking in, I literally, actually, no, she didn't walk in. I literally fucking pushed this dude, like not him. Like I fucking grabbed his chair, like the bottom of his chair, and hit him.
Just tossed him.
And I push him, and he flies off his chair and hits the ground, right? And I'm almost positive when I think about the situation, it wasn't as dramatic as I'm making it sound, but he got up pretending like I fucking gave him a concussion or something. Like he grabbed his head and he was all sad. Like in that moment, like up until that moment, he was trying to be the big dog on campus, right? And then when I pushed him and he fell on the ground, he realized he looked kind of weak. So he got up and he walked out of class. Right, and everyone is just staring. Like it was so uncomfortable. I remember everyone was just staring at me because they're like,
and teacher wasn't there yet.
Teacher wasn't there, but they see me, you know, this black kid push this white kid to the ground. He leaves, right, and teacher comes back like 10 minutes later. He's not there. Teacher comes back and he's like, Zamora, you got to go to the principal's office.
This guy went straight there.
So he went to go snitch on me. Right, he found the teacher on the way and he snitched on me.
The man just said,
It's like, yeah.
That's what he
He went.
Okay, bet.
Not even say nothing.
Bet. So then I go to the principal's office and like it's downhill from there. You know how you can imagine how it went. Like no matter what I said, it didn't mean anything. They call my house, right? And this is back when like they would leave voicemails. So they call my house and I'm praying to God that like no one answers, because I knew that I would get home at like
delete that.
Run to the bedroom and sleep.
I know those ones.
So I get home. So they call. I'm sitting there like sweating. You know that Key and Peele?
Yeah, it was bursting.
That's me in that moment. I'm like, please God. I'm like, don't let him pick up. Don't let him pick up. No one picks up. I'm like, okay, bless. He leaves a voicemail. I leave. Go back to class. Class finishes. I gotta sit on the school bus, take that slow school bus on the way home. I get home first. No one's home. So if I can delete the message, I'm like, blessed, like I'm good. And I used to do this thing where I don't know if like all Caribbean parents do it, but like I would always make tea for my parents when they come in, right? Like I'd have the tea ready and shit, and I go do my thing. Done that, but yeah. I would make tea. It might be a British thing, maybe, right? So I would do that. So, I'm in the kitchen. No, I'm in the kitchen. I always did it. So it was a regular routine. So I was in the kitchen and I hear the front door open, right? And it's my mom and dad. And I walk up to the door. I'll never forget this. And I'm like, oh, hey, mommy, hey, daddy, you guys want some tea? And my dad literally boxed me on the side of the head so hard because they rang his cell phone, after I left. Right? After I left. Like it was almost like a cartoon. Like imagine me like walking up to my dad. I'm like, oh hey, you guys want some tea? And my dad boxed me in the side of my head to the point where like I fucking fell. And I'm like, yo, like
what's going on? You're still trying to play stupid.
Oh, were you holding the tea?
No.
I don't know. Walked the door with the tea and just got boxed. I was like,
can you imagine the tea just falls everywhere? So I'm like,
probably still, what's going on?
Nah, it's still boxed inside the head. And my dad was just like, yo, you don't think they called me? Letting me know what happened at school. And this was when I basically had just finished doing, like I moved from the different area, but when I moved from the area, I stopped doing like karate, like martial arts, which is the first thing I did when I moved here. Like moved to grade 2, did that till grade 8, right? And to this day, I believe that when I stopped doing like martial arts, like those 3 years, I was like the most undisciplined I've ever been, right? Because I did it from such a young age that I had like a regiment. Like I had a routine. Like I would go do some shit. Like my older brother's best friend was the one that got me into it because he saw me hyping up, and he was just like, yo, put him in this. He'll like know what to do from there. So then I just stopped. I went cold turkey one day because my mom took me out of it, and like they thought like me doing what I did in class was like a reaction to that. Oh, okay. And I'm like, I couldn't. It was the same situation. I couldn't even explain in that moment. It was like, no,
he was being racist, or like not hearing nothing.
He was like, this kid was doing all this, right? You know how black parents are.
Those are the worst.
They don't want to be called for nothing. Like during those moments, so I was just like, yo, like I just had to take my beating, and then I just remember my parents being so like upset at me for the next couple of weeks because they're like, yo, next time we go to these parent-teacher meetings, like we're gonna have to hear about this. It's already bad enough you being the only black kid there.
Like parents just hate.
It's the embarrassment they felt, and I was just like, "Yo, like you guys don't even know." And then I explained the situation to them months later, and then they saw you know, how parents have a way, like they see we're the parent-teacher, and I'm sitting there with them, and like he walks by with his parents, and my mom, I'm like, "Oh, that's the kid." I'm just like, she's like, like she looks at him and she's like, like she can tell in that moment. Yes. She's like, but it's always a thing where you just cheese because you're like, yo, like listen to me.
Like, you get no chance to explain like your side of the story. It's like I'm not trying to hear it.
Yeah, it was wild, but that's probably the most disappointing.
I think growing up like that, for all like not you have kids yet or no? Yeah, I think growing up like that for all of us, since we don't have kids, is definitely gonna shape us. Like I feel like I'm gonna catch myself like purposely not doing things my parents did. You know what I mean? like to my kids, because like especially because you've been through, like if your kid comes home like and says some stuff, like you're not gonna be like you're actually be like, yo, like what's good, like and we're millennials, like I feel like we're gonna be a little more chill with our kids, so like that just happened, just like what's going on, like
the crazy thing is like my mom's pretty young, right?
Yeah, mine's
so it's just like so like she's like, I've seen it all. I've done it all. Like she's not that far apart. She's like, like I don't need to hear you speak. I know what it is. Like just very sure of like what the scenario is, and I'm just like, it was tough to deal with.
And she tried to say that she's been there.
Yeah, she's like I've been there. I'm like,
you're like
no, you haven't. Like things change generationally, you know. So it's like maybe there are some similarities, but yo, trust me, like there are some things I think about where when I'm a parent, a lot of it has to do with the age that we're living in. Where I'm like, okay, you
have to adjust at the time.
I know one of the things I'm gonna do my best to adjust with is fucking technology.
Oh,
I don't want to be the parent where it's like I don't want to adjust so that I can be creeping, but I want to adjust so that like. First of all, I don't want to be that parent that's asking my kid to fucking reset their iPad. You know that shit? Like, I don't want to be that parent.
But the thing is, I don't think we will, because we're already technologically savvy already.
I'm just hoping I don't lose that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where I get to a point.
I think even the way we are, we're just gonna keep growing with technology. Like, we're in it. Like, you have to understand. Like, our parents literally did not grow with it. Like. The kids now are growing literally in it.
Yeah, the kids who were born like 2000, we were born into
with
it.
Facebook. Like we grew with Facebook. So it's not like they can introduce any new, like a new Instagram, a new what, like we'll get it. I guess it's just like, oh, this is cooler than what we had, but we get it. Like there's nothing they could do completely left field that I'm like, I just don't understand this at all.
Yeah,
like technology can only tweak so much beyond people that are already born in it.
Yeah, it's just moving faster.
It's just faster, but it's not for us to be like, I have no idea what my kid's using. Like, I don't think we'll get to that point. But
yo, you never know, man. Like there might be a point. Like there might be a point. You say this now, I'm gonna laugh when we look back on this like years from now.
We're like, what is my kid using?
YouTube is like not a thing.
Yeah,
like YouTube, you have to go like rent out a videos from like
something. You have to be in the schools to understand it.
And then like
it's true.
And like I imagine Ryan calling you up. He's like, yo, my kid got some holographic shit. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, oh man. You know, so
that's funny. You say something?
No, I was just laughing at the whole thing. Like, just your imagination's kind of crazy. Like, you have no idea what can happen with technology.
Nothing. And I think that's why I like Black Mirror so much. It's just trippy to watch.
You might get to a point
where
watch
Black Mirror.
I haven't finished the most recent one.
But you watch it. Though,
but
right?
I do.
Like,
watch
it's interesting because it's like it's not that far fetched.
It's not at all.
It's like it's
not.
Almost scary because I'm like.
This could happen.
Could really happen.
Yeah. This could actually happen.
But it seems like even like just like the Uber rating, like, oh, like your rating is this, okay, cool, and you get punished.
Yeah,
and I was like, there it is.
But you just did it. Like you did. Oh, that was a terrible drive. But
cancel. You know when you cancel people, you know this whole cancel culture where it's like, oh, he did this, canceled. We're not gonna fuck with him anymore. Like
I'm just gonna block you.
That was literally that Black Mirror episode.
I'm gonna block you for the day. It's like what? No, like you can't talk to me today.
But
like you just see a blob.
Yeah,
that's
like,
all you see. Like no one even knows who you are.
It's fucking. That's
crazy.
It's fucked.
I
don't know if we talked about the episode, but one of the craziest one was to me still is the one with the eye camera.
Yeah, where it sees everything.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you seen that?
I think I've seen that one
where it's like everyone has the camera implant in their eye, so everything's recorded.
Yeah, you can go back in time.
You can go back in time, and I'm like,
that's wild.
That would torch all relationships ever.
Bro, I would lose every argument.
What?
But I probably win a few that I lost. You know when you lose an argument?
You know how long? I wish I had it because I'm like, there are some fights where they literally tell you, like, you said this, you're like, oh God! Bro! I didn't say that. And you're like, yes, you did. You're like, I just want to fight. Like, you just want to fight because I'm like, how did you hear something I actually didn't say? Yes, you did. And it's like,
those are the worst.
And you're like, I have no control. Like, there's nothing I can do.
Let me just add that before you say that. It's either like when you know you didn't say something, or like you just don't remember the incident, so you just have to take their word for it.
You have no evidence.
You have no evidence to support your own argument, but like, I don't think I said that.
I know.
But I can't prove that I said that.
Actually said, but I know it wasn't that.
So I'm just like, you just have to take the L.
Look, I have noticed this thing that at least every woman I've dated has done, where it's like they confuse forgetting something with it never happened. it's
because they forgot.
Yes. It didn't happen. You know how many times I said, yo, I told you this, and they're like, you never told me that.
Never. And then the word never is such a trigger because you're like, don't use that word if you don't know. If you don't know, just say I don't remember.
Don't remember.
But don't say you never did this.
Bro, that's why I keep the receipts, fam.
No, because then I have to pull out my phone and I'm like, oh, this.
It depends on how deep it is.
Yeah. If it's just like a random thing, I'm never gonna press it, right? But then it's like, if it's a situation where, okay, like triggering things, right? I'll never forget. Last relationship, triggering things is when, like we said, all three of us definitely have a lot of platonic female friends, right? So you've been in a situation where it's like, you might introduce your girlfriend to this girl that you've known, maybe once, right? And then like, a while down the road, it's like, oh, you never introduced me. It's like, who is this? And it's like, I introduced you to her. Like, no, you didn't.
I've never seen this person. You're like, oh my god. you're almost like, you don't remember that day?
That reaction, because you're like, no. Like, you're not really saying this to me, are you? Like,
and they're dead serious. Dead serious.
So it's like, it's like, just look me in the eye and tell me you forgot. Like, don't look me in the eye and tell me it never happened.
Like, I was there.
Please say
you were there.
And then, like, I have to be in
she remembers you.
I have to be in some mental state. I have to be in some mental state in order to look you in the eye and say, no, not make it up. Because, like, I believe it's at a point where they genuinely don't remember. So they're like, it never happened. They won't entertain the possibility that it might have happened. That's my point. So I have to be in some mental state where I have to look you in the eye and be like, that never happened. I might look you in the eye and be like, I don't remember. Yeah. Or, are you sure?
Yeah.
But never.
Never.
Do you know how definitive the word never is?
I hate that word. Because when you finally show them proof later, it's, do you know what you just did?
Do you know what you just did? You've been carrying that L for so long.
Oh, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, okay, yeah. I argued with you for so long about this. For you to finally be like, oh, yeah, maybe.
What?
Oh, man. Oh, my God. That episode, for example, would solve a lot of problems if you're just like, you know what? I'm not going to argue. Play. And you just look at them. So I didn't say that?
It probably solve a lot of arguments and ruin a lot of relationships.
It would.
Why do you always have to be right?
It would.
That's because you still. That's only the argument when they're wrong. Why do you always have to be right?
It didn't even matter that much. Oh my god!
Look, I think, ladies, the reason why it matters so much to us is because we don't win a lot. We
don't. We really don't.
We really don't. Like, God. What did you say? You said, like, when you're in a relationship, you have to, like, I happily swallow my pride or take L's.
Way more than women. You have to eat your pride.
It's not even a debate. It's not even a debate.
But I happily do it. Like, if I love you, I will happily do it.
Unless I know what it will do. It'll save this whole.
Unless it's something that, like,
you really can't stand for.
I really can't stand for. But, like, I would much rather if I can take an L. If I know in
the longevity of peace.
Yeah. Because I know in my mind, like, why am I going to argue with you over this, right? Like, it makes no fucking sense.
There's no audience. If I'm right, then it's okay.
What, I'm going to sit here looking like a jerk in front of you? Like, no, like, so I don't know.
Yeah. My only gripe is, like, when you take an L that you didn't need to take or you didn't deserve, and then they throw it at you later.
That's when,
when you're like, you know, you know
what? That wasn't even an L. You know what?
You want to go back there
because if we're gonna use this, now we'll fight.
Because I've had one of those moments, like, you know, where, like, you get in an argument and you're like, oh, I should have said this, Yeah. I'm like, now I'm loaded. If you want to go back there, the clip is ready.
Yeah. Look, you had me in the corner at that time, but now I have time. Now we got time.
There are two things. There are two things men do in an argument with their hands or their trademark. Right? There's this for the camera. It's with their hands, so they go like this.
Yeah.
Like, what do you? The open palm, and then this where the palms are closed, and it goes. What do you like? You bring it close.
It's right to the mouth. You're just like, oh my God. It's literally that's our defense. Like, honestly, what I think that is, that's literally, as bad as it sounds, for men that aren't abusive, that's literally a defense mechanism not to hit.
Yeah.
Like
you know, I never thought about it like that.
Because we don't. Like,
I never thought about it like
no,
that.
seriously, because we don't. Like if you're a man that doesn't hit women, and you're like I will never hit a woman. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
But there's as a person you get angry, and we, especially athletes, like we how many times you punch something or just hit something, you're just like what? Like you're just pissed as a reaction. But when women make you so frustrated and you know you're not that person to hit, you just internalize all of the anger to yourself, and you just direct. You're just like, I'm fine.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to. You're like, I am fine.
Which is why if I take a L, take that W gracefully, please.
Yeah. Run with it.
Please take that W
Run
gracefully.
with it, because I didn't have to let you take that. Oh man, that just got me so heated. So the last part of the show, as you obviously know, we just ask questions. We have the guests ask us questions. You've been listening to most of our episodes, if not all. I know how many you listen to, but
all of them. I haven't missed one, I don't think.
Appreciate that, truly. Jordan's been one of the first people to reach out to us, I guess, in terms of what we've been doing, in terms of the podcast, in terms of us individually. And then when we went to, as Zamar mentioned earlier, we went to Vancouver the first time. He took care of us completely, which was really, really, really dope. And now he's here on the podcast, which is sick. Pleasure to have you. So from what you've experienced through our podcast, because I'm sure you've literally know all our stories now, which is interesting. What questions do you have, or what insights have you made, or what do you find interesting about either of us that you don't have answers to? You can ask it directly, as now that you're actually here.
I have a question, and this is just partly of my own thinking. Is
for both of us, or
for both of you?
Okay.
This is an open question. When you guys get into relationships, does it go where your whole world opens up to that person immediately, or is it like on a progressive
pieces?
Like pieces. So for example, it's like she can have a drawer at my place now. She can get a key to my place now. She can does it go through like a gradual thing, or does your whole world
all
just
access,
like all access to everything? Like my whole world is open up, or is it just like, do you continue to build trust as you've been dating? Does that schedule, or does that progress continue to go?
I would, most of the time, if I like get into a relationship, I think the progress is building in the
like before the dating
in like the. How do I explain
like
this?
The courting, like talking to stage?
Yeah, that entire stage. It depends. Like I've never just gotten into a relationship really quickly, right? Because if I did, then it would definitely be progression throughout the relationship. You know, like those first couple months is where like trust is being built between her and I, and then all those types of things. But every relationship I've gotten, we were, talking, like doing a lot of stuff for an extended period of time before I was like, okay, do you want to be my girlfriend? Right. So during that entire phase, like I'm kind of slowly like giving you piece by piece if I feel like I can trust you to do so. Right. I can't like verify like, oh, you get a key to my place, because I've never had my own place. Right. But in terms of like letting you into my life, like meeting my family, doing all those types of things, those are all progression pieces. Yeah. That's for me anyway.
Yeah. I think I think it's similar as well. But the thing with me is, if I'm getting into a relationship because maybe because I'm older now, I feel like this has changed as well. But everyone has a clean slate, and they all start in the same place. So whether I like you more or less than the previous person I've been with, I give everyone the same start, like the same starting ground. I can like you way more, like, wow, this one, I love this girl, I like this girl way more than all my other girlfriends, but she still starts here, right? And I just feel like if I keep it consistent, it prevents me from falling too fast, from overlooking things or overseeing things, because once you like someone that much, you ignore a lot of shit about yourself. So I just keep it consistent across the board. Even if you can truthfully say, like, this one deserves way more faster, like, you might think that in your mind. It's like, she's so much better than all the other ones. Like, she deserves to get this stuff way faster than all these girls. I can't, because that's the perfect time for you to slip. Not that you don't trust a person, but, like, that vulnerable moment where you're like, oh, she's way better, so, like, let's just open the door for her and let all these things in for her because I believe she's better.
Yeah.
I still feel like everyone should go through the same process. Every girl or guy, if you're with a guy, for girls, should go through the same process, because you don't know where they'll slip, right? Or if they'll slip. I'm not saying putting it out there like everyone's gonna fall, but you just don't know what point they will slip in your process of opening up, because some might take longer, some might take shorter. You might like one more, like one less, but the one you like less lasted longer. But you know what I mean? Or the one you like more, she fell off here, and you're like, fuck, like I like you so much, but you couldn't even get past this. You know what I mean? So it's like, to allow you to actually understand each person equally and understand yourself equally, I give everyone the same playing field. So it's like, if I like you, okay, I like you, cool. I'm not going to tell you my finances yet. I'm not going to tell you what I do. Like, I'll tell you what I'm interested in. I'll tell you what my likes are. I'm not going to tell you all my secrets. I'm not going to tell you, you know, even like obviously basic stuff like likes and dislikes, but there's certain things you share with people once you get to know them, once you get close to them, like my best friends. Like, I'm not going to just bring you around my best friends just because I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain because you can't undo certain things. And you just can't. It's like, once I bring you to my best friends, it's like, the worst part about bringing someone around your best friends is that if they do like them, now you added that pressure. Like, if it doesn't work out, you added that pressure by allowing that, because you weren't sure. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then by adding that pressure is really a problem, because even if they're not right for you, because your friends like them, you're now not doing things properly, like, for your friends, because of who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, she's good. You're like, nah, like, I'm not happy. You're just like, nah, you guys are fine. You guys, like, you're getting false encouragement, like
input. Yeah,
like, because you introduce them at the point where they're gonna think she's good, because by the time you brought it, in theory, by the time you brought it to us, like, she should be good. So the problems that you think are real problems, to them, they're like, that's nothing. Like, and they're your friends, so you'll start pushing off things, because if my best friend's saying it's not a big deal or whatever, and you're like, well, I take your opinion highly, you're causing a self-destruction of yourself by opening things too early. So to avoid those situations for me, and I think I've only reached that because I've done the opposite sometimes, where I've been like, this one's definitely, like, have you ever had situations where you're like, I've done more for girls who deserve less? Like, too many. You know what I'm saying?
Too many.
So it's like, I've done so much more for girls who deserve way less. So because I like you and you're so much better, I should, like, you just, in your mind, you think it makes sense. You're like, I've already done all this for a girl who is trash. So a girl that's good, I can easily, like, it's in theory, it sounds like it makes sense. You're like, I can easily get this to you because the girl that didn't deserve it was getting all that anyway, you know? And that's how you justify it to yourself. But that's false. Like, it's just false.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the reason I asked that is because, like, the last relationship I was in, like, I had been, like, prior to the girl I dated for like a few weeks, I'd been single for like almost 8 years.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, like, I was like, okay, if this is gonna be my girlfriend, like, let's just open everything up. Like, it's just like, I have nothing to hide. Anything you want to know, anything is just like, my world is open to you.
It's a lot to get.
It was like, all right, like, I want to be transparent. I want to be transparent. It was even to a point where, like, I was, like, changing things in my room, and I wanted her to be there so she could felt like she contributed to, like, my space. So she felt as comfortable as possible.
Right.
Where I lived.
Right.
So, like, it was like
you're bending a lot.
And I'm like, yeah, like, I want you to feel like as comfortable in my world. Like, these are my people. Like, this is the things that matter to me. I'm all in. And it was just like, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You know what, though? The one thing I think I do that might be kind of quick is introduce them to my, like, close friends, like, pretty early. Only because, like, first of all, if I like you, like, if I really love you or like you, then I won't introduce you to my close friends that quickly, right? Because I don't. If I don't like you on that level, I don't think I'll introduce you to my close friends that quickly, because I think you just fall in a different category, right? But the only reason I can say this now is because I remember my last relationship. One of my best friends, Chris, like, literally never ever said anything to me about my ex, like ever.
Like good or bad?
Good or bad. But it's because he did not like her.
Yeah.
Right? So
he had no comment.
He had no comment, right? Like, I remember the day it ended, he was just like, yeah, she was like, yeah, he was like, she was way too much up in your shit.
Yeah. Like, Cole comes out now.
All open shit.
Yeah.
I supported you because you're my boy, but she just wasn't the one for you.
Yeah.
Right? But then it just happened by circumstance that like Ryan and Chris were there in Van the first time we went, and when they met Jamie. But then I remember Chris saying to me, he was like, yo, she's really dope. But it was the first time he ever
had
said
an opinion
about any girl, and he's known all of them, right? And then it just made me go, huh. I was like,
you said something.
Like, this guy might be onto something here. So it just made me think, like, maybe that's like an important thing that, like, I want to do early. I'm not saying like everyone has to do it, but because it was so new to me, I wondered if other people had been doing that, and like if that made more sense. Because I was like, maybe that's something you should do earlier, right? Because I never just even bothered asking my friends, right, how they thought about it.
Right.
What is the worst date that you've ever been on?
The worst date?
The
worst date you've ever been on?
Like an official date.
Like an official date.
Like we should go somewhere and then it just
like like you thought about it, like, you know, I want to take her here, or I want to do something. Like, what's the worst date that you've been on?
Most of my dates go pretty well because I make them go well, which is a strange thing to say. Like, I control them in a certain way because I'll never let like just be awkward or be dead silence. It's more if I don't like a date, it's because there's something they do that turns me off. So that like because typically I have most control of most dates. So if I don't like it, it's because I'm like I just don't like them, right? And you don't really know you don't like someone until you're in person with them, especially in the social media days. You like you meet someone online, let's go somewhere, and you see them in person, you're like, you're actually whack. Like in person, you're whack. So probably, I'm sure you heard on the podcast, I'd like to take girls to comedy shows.
Yes,
a lot for my first dates. So when there was one girl I went to comedy show with, and the comic, like, I'm very specific with humor, like what I find funny. Like I like dry humor sometimes, but just certain jokes just aren't funny. Like there's, I think we all have the same type of humor where it's like there's some things are just like, no, that's not funny.
Yeah. And
the comic was saying something, like he just had a whole set of just like trash jokes, and she's dying, like laughing so hard. I'm looking at her, I'm like, that's not funny. And she's like, you find it funny? I'm like, no, absolutely not. And I can't even remember what the jokes were, but we talked about it before, but like, if you don't have the same humor as somebody, it ruins everything.
It actually does.
Like, I was almost disgusted of her because I'm like, seriously, I'm like,
this guy flamed me earlier for using the word disgust.
Are we back to that?
No, but not. I was so slapped though.
I know you
would. But for that date, like I'm like, there's no way I could date this chick because I'm like, the stuff she's laughing at. Not only are they not funny, but they're almost like, it's so stupid that I'm like, I feel like even talking to you any further would just upset me, and you'd probably start feeling stupid because that's a problem I have sometimes, which I've been checked for from different girls. And when I say check, like they don't put me in my place, but like they've addressed this many times to the point I'm like, you hear things so many times, you're like, maybe it's something I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm so particular and observant with things, I sometimes come off as in a way that makes people feel stupid. Like if someone says something that's really not funny, or they say something that might sound stupid, like not in the rudest way, but I'll find a way to really make them feel dumb, not on purpose, but kind of like, you think that, like, kind of question their own judgment of whatever they're saying, but it's almost in like a frowned upon way. And I don't do it on purpose, but I've been told many times, I'm like, I think I kind of do this. Because, like, if everyone's saying that I'm doing this, and I'm like, I don't do that, eventually you're like, maybe I do this, right? So it's like,
you know what though? Okay, you know why I think like what you're saying makes a lot of sense, because I feel like if you have different humor to someone, it really makes you look at that person like they're a different human being.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but it's just so. Prime example. Okay. Me and Jamie have very similar sense of humor, but we watched fucking Hereditary last night.
Oh, you went.
Fucking trash. Awful movie.
I told you I was trash.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, there are definitely scenes in that movie that were like good.
Yeah.
And there were definitely scenes in that movie where it was like so like ridiculous that you just ended up laughing.
Yeah, because it's so dumb.
You know, like in some horror movies, you actually laugh at some shit.
You laugh because it's so ridiculous. You're still laughing.
So like, but I was like, this movie was not designed, like, did not write this movie to make people laugh. Like,
no, seriously.
It was that's not the design of this movie.
It's not comedy.
Like, I'm laughing because it's ridiculous, right? And there was a point when Jamie looked at me and she's like, maybe we just have different humor. And like, that cut me deep. Because I was like, no,
you like a lot of things.
I felt like I was defending. I was defending our relationship. I was like, no, we have the same humor. Trust me. But
there's gonna be times, of course.
But I just didn't like this. But I was like, yo, like, in that moment, I was like, fuck.
You felt a little kind of disconnect
I was like,
for like 1 second.
I was like, yo, if we have different humor, is she gonna stop loving me? Like, what the fuck's going on here?
But I feel like no one's gonna have the exact same humor other than you're really like your boys, really. But when it comes to girls, it's like even Rhonda. Like, Rhonda will send me some stuff. Like, she follows a lot of meme pages. Yeah. Like, just a whole bunch of fucking meme pages, like memes and like stupid videos and shit. I don't follow those pages. I never follow. Only time I see those videos, like, of people just like, you know, if you just make up memes and just write captions and videos and shit. The only time I see that shit is if someone sends it to me. Yeah. I don't follow any page that creates memes like or hood videos or funny all that. I don't follow those shits. Yeah. But someone always sends them to me. But she loves following that shit. So she'll send me stuff like laughing out stuff, crying, and I'll watch it and I'm like, and she's like, you just don't get it. I'm like, no, it's just not funny. But there are other things where we both die at, right? So like, it just makes you wonder. I'm like, how can you find these things funny? Like, that I truly find are funny, and then also, like, it makes me like, how is that also funny? But I don't know.
You ever had like a one-sided humor where like somebody finds you hilarious, but you just don't find them funny at all?
Yes.
Like everything, they think you're hilarious, and then they try to joke with you, and you're just like, you're not funny. You're not funny. Yeah. Not even a little bit.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. But they're dying everything.
Everything. Those are interesting people to have around.
What about you? Bad date? Worst date?
I would say, what's the fucking worst date I ever had? I don't know. Fucking I think I told them both. The one time where I went out with this girl and she just fucking had no tact and was like trying to order the most, like everything, like ran that bill up so fucking high, and I know I didn't pay for it. The bill was like $400 or $500. Yeah, I didn't pay for it.
The bill came. She just sat there.
That's the thing. She did that.
Just looked at you, just like,
yeah.
Not the sniff.
Yeah, and then I left.
That's what you gonna do?
No, and then I left. I did that twice. I left.
Wait, you didn't pay your bill either?
No, I paid mine and I didn't pay hers. Oh, and I just left.
That's wild.
I'm not gonna pay her bill.
Why was it $500?
Because she just kept ordering the most and then expected.
That was an expensive restaurant too.
Yeah,
I'd have been cheesed.
And then expected me to pay it. And the other one was Tinder Story. Those were the two worst. Yeah, those were the worst ones.
Well, other than that, thank you for coming by, man.
Of course, thanks for having me.
We just hit 2 hours, which is dope.
Yeah,
that was a 2-hour episode. Really,
I could talk to you guys all day, man.
No, honestly, again, like we missed a few episodes just since the last couple months, just be busy and all this shit's happening. So we've been really adamant on getting on top of it again because I truthfully love this shit. Like, this is sick. This is in our live show, which you unfortunately weren't able to make. We talked about this shit becoming like, this is therapy now for us. Like, the only way you can learn about yourself is literally talking your feelings out loud, because you can say something to your friend. Someone can ask you for advice, and you always know what to say to other people. But until you hear yourself say things out loud, you'll never know what you actually believe about things. You know what I mean? Fact. So it's like someone asks you for advice, you're like, oh yeah, just do this, just do that, do that. But when you're put in that situation, who are you asking? And you're asking someone else for advice, but you're like, I don't really know I'm gonna do that. Like,
yeah. But it's worse now because like we spend so much of our time reading everybody else's thoughts about stuff.
Exactly.
So it's like it's sometimes it's really hard to like what do I
really
actually think?
Yes.
Unfiltered from
all these opinions,
or if not unfiltered, like based on like, hey, I've learned this from all these different perspectives. What do I actually think after I know all that? But like. Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to do, especially now.
Yeah, so this podcast has just been great for both of us, I feel, because there's things I learned about myself. There's things I thought I believed that I didn't believe. There's things I was like, how do I feel about this? And I wasn't sure, and I'd say on the podcast, I'm just like, so if you think this, why are you doing something else? You just said this very publicly, but you're not even doing that. And it just made me check myself because I'm just like, that's the only way to really know, like, are you doing what you want to do? Because if someone asks you a direct question, you answer it truthfully, but then later you go do something else, you're like, I'm not happy. Like, clearly.
Yeah. But like, and that's exactly why people like listening to this podcast in the first place. Because they can relate to like those specific moments.
Right. Yeah, man. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for the support for so long. This is dope.
Where can people
where can people find you?
Instagram, just Bertram. So my last name is Birch, Birchum. Twitter is just It's Bertram. Pretty much the same thing, yeah.
Chill. And what do you do anything other than acting? Like, do you do anything that you can help people with?
It's just writing. So like the only thing I'm working on right now is a play that I wrote in school. The school published an excerpt of it, so I'm just trying to put that on.
Wicked.
So like I never in my life thought I'd write a play.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it would be good. And it was both of those things happened. So
but do you have it somewhere or it's just in their privacy? Like it's like it's a public something
it's not it's like the school you can buy it at the school, but it's not like anywhere out like that. So I think I'm just gonna put it on for like a weekend in Vancouver. So like I've never done anything like this.
Have it acted out.
Yeah, have it acted out.
Really?
So like I've never, like I said, I never imagined I'd write a play. So like bringing one to life is like, I don't know any. Like I wasn't a theater kid. Like like it's not like I have connections to these different areas or like I know what makes a good production.
So you're gonna have to assemble the whole thing.
Just gonna have to assemble the whole thing and just figure it out and then like
get people and interview them, all that stuff.
That's pretty much it. Like I just like I have a clear vision for it. And it's just trying to execute. So it might take a little longer than I want to piece it together, but I think it's just like it's one of those things that like you'll do it, and then once it's done, like you'll feel great that you accomplished something, and then you go do something else.
Other than that, thank you guys again for rocking with us another week. I'm host Mr. KOA alongside Top Boy.
Top Boy.
Why did I say Top Boy for him?
Wow, the disrespect.
Wow, I just said his name for him. I am your host, Mr. KOA, alongside
Top Boy.
And this is We Need to Talk podcast. Thank you guys for listening.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.